Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncers' guilt rings.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.
This is Colm McGuigan for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. Delighted to be joined by Bob Arum. Bob, here for a massive fight week in New York. It's got the big fight feel about it. How do you think this one goes?
It's a terrific fight. I think the fans are going to be delighted. I think they're going to see a real old-fashioned, tough battle. Two great fighters, two guys who have steamed each other up with the trash talk. So I think it's going to be very entertaining.
What does a loss do for either of these fighters? Teofimo's only 25. He can still rebuild his career somewhat. Josh Taylor's at the tail end of his career. What does a loss do for each of these guys?
Neither guy wants to lose. So, I don't know what a loss does or doesn't do. I mean, these guys are going in positively, figuring they're going to win. And they're asking themselves, what does a win do for my career? Not what does a loss do?
We've seen Bill Haney here today. Has there been any discussions with the Haney camp about re-signing with Top Rank? I know Eddie Hearn's made some comments that he feels that Devin Haney would be better to promote himself. What do you make of those comments?
Well, you don't promote yourself. That's stupid. If you make a deal with a promoter on one or two fights, he is in a position where he probably doesn't have to make any deal on a long-term basis. But obviously, you got to deal with a promoter for the upcoming fight, So, we've had a good relationship with Bill and Devin. And after this fight, we'll sit down with them and talk about their options.
Eddie Hearn's made some comments on the Tyson Fury saga. I'm sure you've heard those comments. He said that Tyson Fury now is at a point where he's relying on the Joshua fight. What do you think of that? And who are the possible opponents for Tyson Fury ahead of the Usyk fight?
I don't, again, there's a whole list. You go down the list of contenders in these various organizations and pick one. This guy that beat Tony Yoka. He's a good possibility. This Agit Karabach, whatever his name is, he would be a good opponent. There are a lot of good opponents, but that's for Frank Warren and George Warren to sort out with Tyson, which I think they'll be doing early next week.
Do you think we'll ever see Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury, or do you think that the relationship between Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren's going to affect that?
I don't think that's a factor at all. I mean, you can certainly envisage that fight happening if Tyson Fury this winter fights Usyk and beats Usyk, and Anthony Joshua beats Deontay Wilder, then people will string up all the promoters and all the people involved if they don't come together and make a Fury Joshua fight. So, really, it depends on how these fights play out, and that's the way it should be.
Well, Bob, we're pushed for time, so thank you very much. Really appreciate it on IFL TV.
You're very well.
Because I refuse to not be first.
Do we do enough? Well, I never shut up about it.
It must have been about 16, 17. We nicked their guilt rings. Right, the bouncers' guilt rings.
This is no good for me. That's the reality. If you want the honest truth, and I see it every day.